We're going to go ahead then and keep going and talking now about motivating and retaining our volunteers. And of course, we talked about all the reasons why we volunteer, but we're all motivated primarily by three different categories, if you will. If you are motivated by achievement, then you're going to be in that position that creates something and excites you. You may be the person that starts your volunteer program because achieving something that no one else has done is what motivates you. So if you found that person, you know how to motivate them. Some people are motivated by power. They want to give advice. They want to tell you how to do it. And they're going to thrive in that environment. I'm probably that person because I'm really bossy and I love to tell everybody else what to do. So you know how to motivate me. I'm kidding. The affiliation motivated person. This again is my mother-in-law. This is the person who's motivated by volunteering at least once a week and spending time with her friends. So those are really the three different categories, and it helps to know what motivates those type of volunteers because you can empower them to do what they're going to do very well.
Different forms of recognition that I use personally. I am forever and a day telling people face to face, thank you so much. What you do here makes such a difference. That's one way. Another way is thank you cards when someone does something special, or if you have for me, I have a van driver that gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 days a week to drive our families. So I occasionally take him out to lunch. You know, I write him a card. I have asked board members to write thank you notes to specific volunteers who could use a little bit of recognition. It could be a clergy member. If you have different congregations or volunteers from different areas of the secular world or your world, have your pastor, write them a thank you. So use different things like that. We also have done yearly gatherings to where we provide a meal or hors d'oeuvres and bring the volunteers in and make fun awards. The best van driver ever, or great day center volunteer, or overnight host award because you spent the night 10 times this year. Those kinds of things. And those are motivations, and they don't cost a lot of money. They just take the time and the effort and the thought to say thank you so much.
Very, very good points. If you're working with children, have them color something for a volunteer that can go on the refrigerator. Have an adult in your program write a thank you note as they leave a congregation or as they leave your soup kitchen. There are ways for the adults to do very meaningful things too. And as Koki said, it really doesn't cost anything, but it's critical. Use an opportunity to acknowledge someone in front of their peers. We all like to be acknowledged in front of our peers or in front of our boss, or use that opportunity to maybe call someone's boss. Maybe someone is volunteering on their lunch hour and you call their boss and say, we just are so blessed to have this particular person working with us and just wanted you to know that they're doing something outside of their normal work requirements and it's very meaningful to us. So again, it's those little thoughtful ways. One of the things we take pictures of our children. We have photo releases for our children, and maybe we'll put their picture on a note card and use that note card to do a handwritten thank you to a volunteer. There's any number of ways to be creative with those thank yous.
Maybe at one of your days when you have people coming in, have a poster or a piece of paper taped up with the art supplies, whether it be markers or crayons or pencils, so that the people that are coming and benefiting from your services can just do a wall of thank yous. you know, and that way you have that. You can share that when you go out and present other places. You can share that with your board of directors, and it gives a good feel. It gives the people that are benefiting a chance to say thank you, which helps them, as well as it helps us in the realm of finding other volunteers, as well as showing the community, look, you know, we are making an impact.
Some people might be moved by a certificate of service. I'll go back to the bloodmobile type example. You know, people get license plates that they gave so many quarts of blood. Maybe you give a pin, a lapel pin for so many hours of service. That becomes a conversation piece. It gives that volunteer the opportunity to kind of show off and say, you know, look what I did. Or someone might just ask, how did you get that pin? I want a pin. I volunteer at Family Promise or St. George's or Agency ABC. Well, I earned that pin by X number of hours of volunteer service. Sometimes recognition can be in the form of a title change. Now think again, there's that power-driven or that achievement-driven volunteer. Give them a new title. That's really going to, seriously, I mean, that really is going to make that type of volunteer feel very needed, very respected, very appreciated. And it's a title. It's a very meaningful title, but it's something that is important to some of us.
Then there are volunteers that say, please don't spend your money. It needs to be used on our families, our services. And those volunteers, they thrive on just the personal thank yous, like I mentioned before, just recognizing them on a regular basis and letting them know how much you appreciate them.
I'd be curious to know from you, Koki, do you ever have volunteers that say, do not send me a thank you letter?
Absolutely.
And do you send the thank you letter?
Absolutely. You know, I might not go out and buy them a coffee mug or a plaque, but I will take the time to send the thank you letter. You know, I can get that they don't want me to spend money on a coffee mug or on a plaque or on something, you know, that's going to take away from our budget. But if it takes away from a little bit of my time, that I do anyway.
Good point. We had the same experience. I have a woman who comes to our day center every 3 or 4 weeks, and she provides haircuts for all of the children and the adults in our program. And she'll say, don't send me a thank you note. Well, guess what? It's the right thing to do. I'm not spending anything other than my time and 44 cents on a stamp. 46, oh God. But it's the right thing to do. Now, if she said don't spend any money on me, I'm not going to go out and buy her an iPad because she volunteered 3,000 hours because I'm listening to her. But that piece of paper, and I will even say in there, this is from my heart. This is from the children whose hair you just cut. Allow us to say thank you. It's important. Thank you are the 2 most powerful words we can use. They have to be genuine. And they always are when they come out of our shop. We are grateful for everything that happens with us, but still send that thank you note because it's the right thing to do. Recognition plan. Just like everything we do, we should have a plan. Do we want to acknowledge volunteers that had a particular benchmark in their giving? Do we want an annual recognition type of thing? I look at my volunteers and my donors and I'll say, okay, who out of this pool of people should get our newsletter? Everyone. Who, maybe somebody volunteers on behalf of their company. At what threshold do I put them or their company on our website? You know, there are different forms of recognition, but I would have an internal plan of how to recognize and when to recognize our volunteers.
So I'd like to open the floor up to y'all to hear your thoughts and your methods of recognition.
2 things. One is personal, and that is whenever I am in the center while we are operating, I will personally walk up to someone that is doing the job, not always the same one, not always the same day, and just simply say, thank you for what you're doing here at the Jubilee Center. You can overdo that, and I try not to, but I try to do it. And the second thing is we have an annual gala, and we recognize a volunteer of the year or a number of volunteers. We'll identify 3 people that are special that we want to recognize this year. So those are some things we do.
Fabulous. And you want to look for unique ways. There's some examples in there at the bottom. We have a husband and wife team, Fred and Brenda, known as Frienda. They do not volunteer one without the other. And so it's unique to be able to recognize them. Or I had a little child, maybe 2 or 3 years old, hand me a clenched hand full of coins and said, "These are for your children." You know, a child so precious and so innocent to be able to use as an example. Maybe I don't bring them to a gala because it's 10 o'clock at night and they're in bed, but I use that platform to acknowledge a 2 or 3 year old child who gave me those coins that are the most meaningful thing that I had received in the entire year. You know, look for unique opportunities.
At Paul's Place After School, what we do is, we send thank you letters, and we have group pictures, and we often send those out with the thank you letters and things of those nature. But we also, at the end of the year, we have a cocktail party for all of the volunteers who have volunteered throughout the year, and it's an opportunity for us to individually, walk around saying thank you, and it's also an opportunity for the volunteers themselves to share their stories with each other, because they all have different schedules and they come in at different times, and they don't even know what everybody's doing or who's doing what. So it's an opportunity for them to share their stories and kind of, take pride in what they're doing and learn more at the same time, learn more about our program and what we offer to the students.
Excellent.
I think those volunteer stories are crucial for our work. We need those stories of the volunteers and of those that we serve, because if we don't have those stories, it makes our job more difficult. So utilize those stories and those opportunities.
In addition to recognition, there is a term called stewardship. We all hear it, but I think oftentimes we don't understand what it means. To properly steward someone who has given you a gift, it can be a financial gift, it can be a gift of their time. Stewardship is directly showing the donor how their gift is impacting a life or lives. That's different from just saying thank you. Stewardship might be someone tutoring one of my children for 6 months, and I'm thanking that person all along, and I'm letting others know about her gift to this particular child, and we're making a fuss because this child is progressing. Maybe when that child gets their mid-progress report or that first report card after that donor working with them, I'm going to call that donor, or that child is going to send a note or make a phone call or do something to say to that tutor, "Look what you helped me do." That's so powerful. That's not just saying thank you, it's showing how that person's gift changed a life. Maybe it's a financial gift to build something. Maybe it's a book of stamps to do a mailing. Maybe it's not a book, maybe it's a roll of stamps, but that is going to then allow us to send out an appeal to help raise money, to be able to use those gifts to move a family forward. It's connecting the donor with the outcome. And that is planned, it's sincere, it's ongoing, and it's critical. And I can say that probably out of every 100 nonprofits in the community, 98 of them practice stewardship. Or they should be. And if they don't, shame on them. It's really, really key to steward your donors. The last page is a 1-year anniversary report to stakeholders. I would consider this a stewardship piece. Over the course of a year, and this is older information, this is when I had been open a year, I'm saying to the congregations, you're on our list. You're part of who is hosting our families or supporting our families. And this is why you should feel good, because we've provided X number of meals and transportation and school uniforms and all of these things that you've helped us to do. And so again, it's connecting a donor with an outcome.
Annual report, most of us have to do them anyway for our grants. So it's, it's just a way of taking that information that you're going to use to be requesting funds and making it putting it in a friendly format to where people can say, oh, I'm part of that. We served 16 families. We served 50 people this year. And out of those 16 families, 15 of them are still doing well, and it's just wonderful to let people know that they're part of something that's making a difference.
Couple of last minute things just to add, if you will. Some people will benefit from a tax perspective. Most of us volunteer. That might be the last reason why we're volunteering, but there are individuals who would find that to be very meaningful. Volunteer time can be captured and recorded by an individual for tax purposes. So that's always important, especially in your acknowledgments, or if someone is contributing a gift in kind. You would want to have the proper tax information on your thank you, because we're not allowed to solicit without that information on our letterhead. As we're thanking someone, we should make mention of it in the body of the letter as well, and we should have our IRS statement on there for that individual, because sometimes what they're contributing in kind is thousands and thousands of dollars, and in that situation, they would be remiss not to claim it on their taxes, but bear that in mind. And then lastly, I'd like to leave you with one little resource, and that is an organization called DOVS, D-O-V-S, Directors of Volunteer Services. This is an organization that you can become a part of as a coordinator, or if you find a particular coordinator, you can send those to those meetings, but it's ongoing education, if you will. It's networking with others in the community that do these things well. And it's just one of those associations where the networking is very powerful. You'll walk away with these tools today. You would walk away on a monthly basis with valuable information from other agencies sitting around that same table, or from the leadership of that group. So that's a really good resource in our community, DOVS. I believe it's national. I believe it's national. And I could be wrong. I do know that they are thriving in this community, but I really thought they were national.
Any other input, questions, comments? It would be great to know if you found this beneficial for you. We did not prepare an evaluation. Maybe we should have an evaluation next time. Yeah. If it was beneficial for you, I hope it was, and I thank you each and every one for sharing your knowledge with us, because I always go away learning something, and I love sharing with our community. So thank you for being here this morning in all this rain, and I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you all again.
And good luck. It feels overwhelming sometimes, right, Bill? Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I came here hoping to get a little information that would be helpful. I didn't expect that I was going to feel so inadequate as a result of the information I've gotten. But I just thank you, first of all, Bonnie, for setting this up, and for both of you for your well thought out recommendations. I've got a lot of work to do, but thank you very, very much.
Bill, I need to say I'm feeling pretty awful right now, because I don't believe you're inadequate. I believe that you are a gift to your community, and that you're doing God's work, and God is here presenting to all of us to learn from each other. And please please, please. The last thing any of us wanted you to do was go away from here feeling like you were inadequate.
And you have new friends to lean on now. Seriously, you'll
Absolutely.
walk away with our cards.
Absolutely.
And we will help you. We're all in this together on this planet. So do not feel anything other than excited, motivated,
Supported.
and supported.
No, thank you so much. Koki and Rhonda, this is wonderful. And the group that we presented to a month ago, or maybe more, thought it was too, and they suggested that we do it again up here. And again, I say the same thing. Please don't anybody feel inadequate. Just take away what you can and use it. Any little bit is better than nothing. Again, thank you so much. We appreciate all of you all coming out in the rain, and we are a little early ending, but I think it's a perfect time because I hear the rain has stopped. So thank you so much, and know that Rhonda and Koki will be there for you and answer any questions you might have along the way. Thank you again so very much.